Hi, my name is Sabrina Allen, and I'm going to talk about something that has become more and more important as my life has progressed, and that is positivity. I think a common idea about positivity is that it just happens to us. That sometimes we wake up and we're happy, and sometimes we wake up and we're sad, and that's just kind of how the day goes, based off of just how we happen to be feeling. And I think to a certain extent that is somewhat accurate. Um, but I very strongly believe that each individual person has the ability to change the way that they're feeling. I think that we have control over our emotions, and because of that, we are able to create positivity and create happiness in situations where we don't really think that's possible. I personally don't believe that it is ever impossible to feel happiness. Um, in 2014, a woman named Keetra Kahana gave a TED Talk. And in this TED Talk, she talked about her dad, Ronnie Kahana, who was a rabbi, and he suffered a major stroke that paralyzed him from the cheeks down. So he was just completely paralyzed, and he was conscious, and the only thing he could move was his eyes. And so Keetra Kahana went in to visit her dad in the hospital, and what she would do is she would recite the alphabet until she got to a letter. He would blink, and he would spell out different words that he was trying to say to her, and this was the way that he would communicate. And so the first thing that he said to his daughter Keetra was, "Keetra, my beauty, don't cry. This is a blessing." Um, and I just think that is so incredible. And he later went on to say, "Paradise is in this body. It's in this world." And he said that not being able to breathe on his own, not being able to eat on his own, only being able to blink his eyes. He said that paradise was in this body. And I just think that is so incredible, because that is a story of a man who took something that I think most people would hate. Being paralyzed is like the worst thing ever. And he took that and created paradise within himself. He created happiness out of a situation that there was no happiness. It didn't happen to him, he created it. And I just love that story. And I think the way that I'm describing it, I make it sound so easy. I make it sound like you just snap your fingers and you're instantly happy. And I testify that it is not that easy. But I do believe that it is possible. And I have 3 steps that aren't necessarily just the key. It doesn't just instantly bring you happiness to do these things, but I know that it puts you on that path towards happiness. So the first key to happiness, I would say, is to get out of your own head. This is something I personally struggle with a lot. I'm really bad when it comes to overthinking and justifying myself when I'm upset. But as we tell ourselves, as we put ourselves in other people's shoes and stop telling ourselves that we have the right to be mad or we have the right to be upset or whatever, it makes it a lot easier to understand why we should be happy, if that makes sense. And one thing that I have found really beneficial in my life is if I'm ever upset, I will find a quiet place, or I'll just go in a room that nobody else is in and just tell myself to stop, and just tell myself literally out loud, say, stop being mad or stop being upset. And it sounds like I'm a crazy person, but it really does work. The second key to happiness is to serve others. Not only serve others, but serve others with intent. I think as we bless other people, they in turn bless us, and it just kind of creates this endless cycle of joy and happiness, and it just kind of instantly brings happiness, and that is something that I testify of, that when you bless other people, it in turn blesses you. And when you create a desire to help other people rather than to spite them, it brings love, and that motivates you to be happy. And the last thing that I suggest is to have gratitude. As we look for the good in our lives, it is easy to see things that can make us happy. And as we talk about things that we're happy about rather than complaining, it really just brings us joy, and it brings us this perspective of gratitude and of realizing how incredible our lives are, no matter what our circumstances are. So I strongly testify that happiness is always possible, and it's hard, it's really hard, but I do testify that it is always possible to find joy. Thank you.